Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back to the Minecraft Survival Guide. I hope you're all having a good day. In today's episode, we are here at the Trial Chamber. In fact, I'm recording these episodes back to back, so I am literally seconds after we have ended the previous episode where we unpacked all of the loot that we got here from the spawners and the vaults in this trial chamber. But we are going to drink an ominous bottle and attempt our first ominous trial experience. I'm going to gather up all of my shulker boxes and we're going to head to a room in this that might actually start spawning stuff immediately because I don't think I've been there for a few minutes now. Oh, wait a second. It looks like we actually missed a vault over there in the top part of this section. Up on the copper grates, it looks like there is another vault block that I didn't get a trial key for in the previous episode, so stick around. We'll take a look at that. It's probably not going to have any more interesting loot than any of the previous ones, but you never know. Instead, we're going to go back to the entrance corridor. We're going to skip past a lot of these other trial spawners, and we're going to try and find a spiral staircase that led upwards to a room that had a geode in it. Yes, this one. I think this is going to be the ideal place to start our ominous trial experience because everything here is really hectic. So we have a bunch of spawners in this room. You'll notice that the zombies generating from those spawners now come with a lot more equipment. Not only that, but you'll hear these whining, charging up effects happening in the background. That is an effect of the ominous trial, which is spawning projectiles above the heads of the player and the mobs. These zombies have iron equipment and diamond equipment in some cases. That one even has an enchanted iron sword, which could be a little bit tricky for us to handle if I didn't already have full protection netherite. So the goal here is kind of similar to the goal from the previous trial spawner experience. It's simply to defeat any mobs that are spawned from these ominous trial spawners. So we're going to take on the breeze here. We're going to take on any of the zombies that appear from this spawner, although some of them might have dropped down the holes in the floor already. And once again, we do have to make sure that we kill all of the mobs from these spawners before they will drop any kind of rewards. So things could get a little bit hectic in here pretty quickly, considering there are 4 spawners all churning out mobs. Oh, but we have our first ominous trial key. There you go. Got to be quick on your feet to pick some of these up, and I need to make sure I take care of this breeze wherever he ended up. The breeze can be a pretty tricky customer to deal with. Looks like he's over here firing projectiles at us from a distance, and I need to make sure that I take out all of these zombies as well, but the breeze is kind of my top priority at the minute. Wind charges will also appear out of thin air as part of the ominous trial experience, so you might find yourself thrown around even if a breeze is not present. We don't want to get cornered by these zombies, so we better make sure we take them out, and once we kill this breeze, I think there might be maybe one more to come out of the spawner, which will sometimes spawn additional mobs compared to how many it would normally give us. But there we go. Looks like we're getting, just some steak out of that one, and just some potatoes out of this one. So the ominous trial does not guarantee that you will get ominous keys. It is simply one of the possibilities. Now, the ominous trial effect is ongoing, so it looks like, yep, we have one more zombie to take care of down here, and then I should probably make it back up to that trial spawner to see what it's given me. Excellent, we got another ominous key. That's fantastic news, because this room, I believe, contained at least one ominous vault. These ominous vaults are really the most important part of the whole experience, because these are the ones that will give us some really, really good loot. Because we started with Bad Omen 2 from that ominous bottle, we have a really long period of Trial Omen. So before our trial period expires, let's go ahead and open up these vaults. We get the revolting advancement for that, and there we go, some good looking loot. I'm going to tuck away some of the other stuff in these boxes just so that we can clear out our inventory for any new rewards, because these genuinely look like they're worth having. Looks like we got some diamonds, some emeralds, some wind charges, 11 wind charges, not bad, and a book of Smite 2. That's an enchanted book, the first time we've received one of those here in the trial chamber, but certainly not the last, because these ominous vaults can also contain special enchanted books that you cannot get anywhere else, not even from villager trading or other loot chests. They are exclusive to trial chambers. And the reason for that is that they are exclusive to one of the things you can get from the ominous vaults, combined with one of the things that we've already got from fighting the breezes. Combining a heavy core item, which you can only get from the ominous vaults, with the breeze rods that we've received already, we can craft a new weapon called the Mace. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to get hold of that in the next little while, but I'm not holding my breath, because the heavy core has the lowest chance to drop of any item obtainable from the ominous vaults, so we might need to farm a few of these ominous trial keys and then go looking for other trial chambers in order to acquire it, because Much like the regular vaults, ooh, a little extra drama from the weather today, much like the regular vaults, ominous vaults can only be opened once per player. So once you've opened them in one trial chamber, that's it. You got to go and find another one. Now, stepping into the other room, we're going to find that the other spawners here adapt to the ominous trial effect and produce some skeletons, which, once again, are going to be fighting each other a little bit. We're also going to get some ominous slime spawns, although that shouldn't really affect things too much, but we want to make sure that we get a few opportunities for ominous keys, and it looks like this one is now dropping fire charges on us, which is a little bit more hectic, especially when it means that some of the slimes and skeletons will be set on fire by that, and if they deal fire damage to me, then that's potentially a little dangerous too. You'll also find some extra splash potions start getting dished out with some extra effects. This one's giving me swiftness though, which is not too terrible, but there are 3 new potion effects that were added into the game as of this update, and some of those have a chance to appear in these trial chamber environments, including one that makes any enemy that's killed spawn additional slimes. So we could really turn this into a hyper-powered slime farm if we wanted to. Over here at our other ominous spawner, we're going to still deal with the skeletons, and basically our goal is to run the entire dungeon again as quickly as possible while this trial omen effect is still in play, and any opportunity we have should be used to acquire some more of these ominous keys, because there's a limit to the amount of ominous vaults in these trial chambers, but the keys themselves can only be acquired through an ominous trial. Now, if you're looking at these skeletons thinking, oh, I wish I could get some of that armor-trimmed diamond gear, unfortunately, you won't find any of them dropping the gear that they have. That's exclusive to them wearing it. That's not going to be a reward for defeating these mobs, unfortunately. Pretty sure at least one of these skeletons is rocking a knockback bow, because they are throwing each other around here. I don't know if that's actually turned off the trial spawner up here. Yes, it did, but it only gave us a little bit of food. Still no more ominous keys, just the one left. That should be the last skeleton from the spawner down here, though, and yes, that one's popped out another ominous key. Perfect. Let's see where there's another ominous vault that we can open, like this one above the door. I think since we already recapped all of the stuff from the barrels in the previous episode, we can use the scaffolding now to get up here so that we don't have to keep count of that. Let's see what we get from this one. That's the other armor trim. We got a few more arrows with potion effects on, a full diamond chest plate. Is that enchanted as well? Yes, Thorns 1, not the best enchantment in the world, but still an enchanted chestplate, which is definitely more than we got last time around, and that is the Flow armor trim, which is the other armor trim that can be acquired from these trial spawners. I'm going to add that to the loot here, along with the other bits and pieces that we've received, really getting a decent haul from this trial chamber now. We've still got one more ominous key we can use, so let's go looking for more spawners that'll get us more keys and potentially find some more vaults along the way. I don't recall if there were any ominous vaults in these zigzag rooms where the skeletons spawn, but I have a feeling these will be a really great way of farming ominous keys. Unfortunately, though, if the skeletons jump into these potion effect clouds, they're going to start spawning silverfish, because the potion effects are giving us the infested effect, which is similar to the slime effect I mentioned earlier, except when you kill them, they spawn silverfish. Pretty self-explanatory, really. Ah, there is an ominous vault up there. Okay, well, we'll deal with the rest of the skeletons in this room, because it's going to be very hectic opening that vault if we don't. Honestly, it's going to be pretty hectic even if we do, because I've activated the other 2 trial spawners just to speed things along here. And this is just visual chaos. There's so much going on. The skeletons are spawning silverfish. I'm a little bit worried that I might take a bit too much damage here, but obviously I've got the full netherite on at this stage, so if I take too much damage, that's on me. Honestly, one of the best strategies when dealing with all of these skeletons seems to be to stick in a corner and stay out of harm's way. But of course, the potions and the projectiles dropping on you as part of the ominous trial might make that a little difficult, so it's kind of tricky to determine when you should run and when you should fight. That's the last of the skeletons defeated, and looks like we just got some food from these ones, some baked potatoes and some golden carrots. But really what we're here for is to climb up here and see what's available from this ominous vault. We'll pop the key in the front there, and that's the last ominous trial key we have, but that's given us another armor trim, another ominous bottle, so we can keep this whole adventure going if we want to. And it looks like at the end there it popped out a diamond axe with efficiency 2. Okay, not too bad. Kind of villager trade level loot there. A diamond axe would be pretty huge if we were still gearing up. Obviously we're not at this stage, and we also have a bad omen 3 bottle, so that could even make the trial omen effect last a little longer. I'll keep that one on deck just in case we need it, but for the moment we need to go and farm another ominous trial key so that we can get ourselves another ominous vault open. Now we know the locations of at least 2 more ominous vaults. There is one directly opposite the room with the beds over here, and there is going to be at least one more in these rooms here. There is one in the corner over here, and I believe we still have the one underneath the waterlogged staircase to unlock too. So if we can acquire 3 ominous keys from these spawners, that's going going to allow us to unlock the last 3 ominous vaults in this trial chamber. And from the looks of things, these cobwebs are generating thanks to another potion effect, which I believe is called weaving. We've not encountered that one on our person yet, so I can't double check the name. Yes, there we go, the weaving effect, that's the one. So that's going to force any mob that dies to drop cobwebs at the location where it died, which is going to slow both you and the mobs down a little bit. Cool way of setting up a string farm, though, if you can get hold of potions of weaving, and these are actually all brewable, so we'll talk about that in a future episode too. For now, though, we did get another ominous trial key, so we can open the ominous vault in this room. Let's hop up to that with a couple of these copper blocks and see what this one's going to give us. Emeralds, arrows, and iron block. That looks like it from that one. Not too shabby, but also not the greatest loot in the world considering we already have an iron farm and stuff. But honestly, this amount of slime is actually quite worthwhile. Let's try to farm at least one more ominous key because I'm fairly certain behind that staircase we have another ominous vault. Slime spawning silverfish when they die is not my favorite thing in the world, but I guess we're gonna have to deal with that if we can. That's another ominous key for us. Fantastic. Let's go behind the staircase and see what we can grab from this. Maybe have another couple of slices of cake on the way, and this ominous vault should give us a little extra loot. There we go. Another armor trim, some more diamonds, some more emeralds, and some more wind charges, plus a golden apple. Not an enchanted golden apple, it looks like just a regular one, but still quite nice to have, especially in a combat-rich environment like this. We've got just under 10 minutes of trial omen left, so we could still get another couple of trial keys if we are able, and this room here is one we haven't tried in ominous conditions yet, so let's see what these skeletons have got for us. I will say one of the bits of mundane loot that I'm actually happiest with is that you get the occasional shield from these trial vaults, because man, do I need the shield upgrade occasionally. It really takes a toll on your shield going through this place with all of the skeletons around. The breezes are about, so we're going to be getting a few more breeze rods. It's usually a good idea to chase them down and get them cornered because they can knock you back and they can also leap pretty high. It is quite tricky fighting them in open areas like this, but we managed to trade blows there, and I think a couple more breezes should spawn and then we'll have access to that ominous spawner. Yep, there we go. That should be the last one. It popped out a key for us, as I was hoping it would. And there's probably a couple more zombies lurking around here. Looks like that spawner is still active, so I'm sure there's one somewhere, but goodness knows where it ended up. Oh, there we go. I think some of the splash potions have been dropping slow falling, so that's been a kind of weird anti-gravity element to this. Drop the key in, and let's see what it's got for us. Pop out an apple, some emeralds, some more wind charges, some more emeralds, and some more wind charges. Okay, that looks like it. That time it was an enchanted golden apple, though. Really useful to have those as trial loot if you haven't found them in other structures. We're up to a full stack of breeze rods as well, which means 4 stacks of wind charges, not to mention the stack that we've already acquired, and then a few extra breeze rods besides. Oh, I just knocked through this wall just in case there was a structure behind here, and there wasn't, but I found some diamond ore immediately. We are at that level of the world after all, so might as well grab this tiny little 8 vein. A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. Now let's see if we can grab one more ominous key for that one last ominous vault that I know is out there in the dungeon. Our trial omen has about 5 minutes left on it, so this is definitely going to be worth doing, and honestly, any additional ominous keys we can get will help us when we go and visit other trial chambers, because we can simply go and open the ominous vaults there without having to do an ominous trial at that location. Got another ominous key from that one. Perfect. Okay, that'll open us the one in the corridor opposite the sleeping room, and maybe if we can get a couple more keys from these 2 spawners, that'll be a good thing to take into the next trial chamber experience. Unfortunately, it looks like we just got some baked potatoes from this one, and I'm running out of room for baked potatoes at this stage. But the skeletons here in their full diamond pajamas are the only remaining obstacle to finishing this trial spawner and making sure we get a reward from that too. Okay, that's the final spawner taken down. What did we get? We got some steak. Okay, I'll take the steak then, and we'll go and unlock the final ominous vault from the corridor over here. This was the one I started bridging out to without a key. This one is just going to be over here opposite the room with the beds. Let's drop the key in there. That will be the last ominous vault in this trial chamber, our last chance to get the heavy core from this place, and it looks like we have not managed to do that, but we do have another flow armor trim to add to our collection. We got a multi-shot enchanted book that time, a few more emeralds, and a few other bits and pieces, some more wind charges, I think, in there as well. But that is going to be it as far as the ominous vaults go. I will double check, and of course we do still need to see if there's anything useful in that vault up there, but it looks like we have run out of ominous vaults in this trial chamber, which means we'll need to go elsewhere if we want another chance at getting more ominous vault loot. The trial omen should run out in about 1.5 minutes, at which point, once these spawners come off cooldown, they will start putting out regular mobs again, and we'll have the chance to get some regular vault keys. As I mentioned, if you want to run around and try and find some spawners that have reactivated in the meantime, you can always try and farm a couple more keys before you leave. I know there's at least one of the zigzag rooms with the skeleton spawners that I didn't go in, so we might be able to get that within the next 30 seconds or so, but otherwise, we do have a couple more ominous bottles, and we could stick around and farm more ominous keys from this trial chamber, even if we didn't have enough to activate all of the vaults. But nope, it looks like my trial omen has just run out, and all of the spawners that were involved in these ominous trials will remain on cooldown for the same amount of time they would if you were just doing the trial in a regular way. But one thing you'll notice if you activate the bad omen effect and get that trial omen whilst it's already spawning some regular mobs is that those mobs will disappear and it'll reset the whole experience to the ominous variant of the trial. It sort of takes priority over the normal trial experience. Either way, let's head back to our entrance, let's recap some of the loot from both the last session and this one, and let's see if we can draw any conclusions from the loot we've gathered. So in the ominous trial experience, things have changed up a little bit, and I've moved some of the loot around in the shulker boxes so we can get a better look at what we're dealing with here, both from vaults and ominous vaults. First of all, we have more than doubled the amount of slime we got, and that was also thanks to the oozing effect, but there are a lot more slimes generating as part of the ominous trial, and ominous trial spawners seem to generally output more mobs than the regular trials do, so you're in for a much tougher fight simply because of sheer numbers, but you're also in for a tougher fight because of the additional armor that skeletons and zombies are generating with, and the chance of them having enchanted or more dangerous equipment. Like, one of those zombies had a diamond sword at one point. As you can see though, none of that gear ended up dropping for us, even though I have looting 3 on this sword, which pretty much indicates that it's not meant to. Now, despite the fact that some of the trial spawners were dropping basic stuff like food, some of them were dropping ominous keys, and the ominous vaults gave us access to a bit more unique loot from this dungeon. First of all, the flow armor trim, which we now have 4 of. We got a higher level of bad omen from one of those vaults as well, although it seems like we don't have any more access to bad omen now that we've opened up all of the vaults, minus that one, and we've opened up all of the ominous vaults as well. So if we want to farm ominous bottles, we'll probably need to go to a pillager outpost or somewhere we can kill pillager captains on the regular, and then come back to the trial chamber in order to keep that ominous trial effect going and get more of the keys. The keys themselves are kind of a unique item, but we don't have any of those to show for ourselves here because we used every ominous key we got to open an ominous vault. Depending on the way the dungeon is laid out, on the first run through you might end up with slightly fewer ominous keys, but if you activate the ominous trials multiple times and manage to get keys from them each time, you're likely to end up with a surplus of keys, and that's a good thing to take into future trial chambers. Now, the ominous vaults gave us both an enchanted and a regular golden apple, a couple of enchanted books that aren't the unique ones for these trial chambers, but they're certainly worth having. We also got a little bit of diamond equipment from those. We got a Thorns 1 diamond chestplate and an Efficiency 2 axe, neither of which is stellar, but it's still free diamond equipment that you could grind the enchantments off and re-enchant yourself if you wanted to. We also got a few extra diamonds, emeralds, wind charges, and that kind of thing, plus an additional haul of breeze rods considering we were fighting twice as many breezes as in the regular trial. And on a whim, I mined out a wall and I found 8 deep slate diamond ore. We're not really counting that as part of the trial, obviously. It's not exactly a guarantee, but it's a pretty funny coincidence. Now let's see if one of these has regenerated yet, because I'm curious to see what's in that last vault up there. Here we go, we found another one of those skeleton zigzags, and that seems to have got spawners active again, so we can just do the regular trial here to get another vault key. And you might notice, while you're exploring these and all of the spawners are on cooldown, the place gets a little bit quiet, and that's because the trial spawner structure is actually mob spawn proof. You won't find any regular mobs spawning in here, even in darker areas. The whole thing is kind of similar to a Mushroom Island or the Deep Dark. It doesn't get any hostile mob spawns unless they come specifically from stuff like the trial spawners. Of course, if you find a regular spawner somehow generating in a dungeon off to one side of a trial chamber, those will still spawn mobs because those are subject to the specific spawning conditions of mob spawner blocks as opposed to the natural mob spawning conditions that you get just from dark areas. But it provides an interesting opportunity, there we go, there's our trial key. It provides an interesting opportunity in future to remodel some parts of this structure, both so that you can turn it into a spawn-proof base, and also so that we could potentially farm some of these spawners, either for loot drops or for more keys. Let me use a water bucket to hop over here. We should just be able to hop into the water stream and make it up to this platform. I'll light this up, but the vault itself seems to have lit up as we approached. And let's pop the key in to see what we get. I'm not expecting anything wonderful because this is just a regular vault, but oh, we did get an enchanted book from that one. What did we get? Silk Touch. Well, that's honestly the best loot I've received from one of these vaults the entire time, so that was definitely worth having. And the loot from these vaults is randomized, so it is basically a chance of getting that each time. Each player is not guaranteed to receive the same results from every vault, and mostly it is down to luck. But I'm not going to turn my nose up at another Silk Touch book. I think that's a pretty decent find. At this point, though, I think our goal has changed. Since we still have a couple of these ominous bottles around, I think we're going to take those, and once the trial spawners have all completely reset, we're going to do another ominous trial or two in here, maybe between clips. I'm not going to do the entire thing on camera again, but I'm going to try and farm up a few more of those ominous keys, and we can try and find another trial chamber, whether we trade with another villager to get another map, or if we just encounter one while caving, and we'll try and run through that, just open up the ominous vaults to collect the loot without worrying too much about fighting any of the mobs inside, and we'll see how that trial chamber differs, see if we can get any different rewards, and see what else we can uncover about the trial chamber experience. Hey folks, welcome back. So having run the trial a couple of times, I wanted to recap some of the stuff that I've done. First of all, also thank you to everybody who pointed out you can crouch to scratch the oxidation off the copper bulbs when you have a shield. I didn't realize that the other day, and I've only just got around to the comments on the previous video, so hopefully we'll be able to do that a little bit more effectively in future. But for now, I'll take a quick look at what I've been able to gather. Mainly this. We have 18 ominous trial keys and 12 trial keys from running this a couple of times on stream. And one of the great things that my chat pointed out to me is that having a Smite 5 netherite axe, which I've had this whole time, actually works really well against the individual skeletons and zombies when they're spawning from the regular trial spawners. It won't one-shot them if you're in ominous trials mode because they'll be better armored, but it will one-shot them if you're just gathering trial keys. And also, once you've gone through getting the regular trial spawners done, drinking an ominous bottle immediately converts them all into ominous trial mode without having to go through the cooldown process. So you can sweep the dungeon once, drink an ominous bottle, and sweep it again to get all these keys. Now our plan is to go to a completely separate trial chamber, which I'll have to acquire a map for from another set of villagers. I'll probably top up my food en route, and we're going to see if we can sneak through that dungeon using some of the blocks that we have gathered here to completely block off any line of sight to the trial spawners, whilst also still getting the vaults and ominous vaults. Basically, the goal now is to use these keys without being spotted and doing as little combat as possible in our next trial chamber. And then we'll return to this one to do more farming, and we'll treat this one as our base trial chamber that we can use to farm supplies for the other trial chambers. Naturally, you don't have to do it this way, and if you've started out with a trial chamber that has slightly trickier enemies like the bogged or cave spiders or baby zombies, then you might want to consider finding a trial chamber that's a little bit more basic if you want to farm resources this way. If you're in it for the combat and you want to treat each trial chamber as an isolated experience, then that's also great, but I think, honestly, for a long-term world like this, I want to be farming trial keys and getting the most out of future trial chambers as quickly as possible. This is also potentially going to be the fastest way to get hold of the heavy core, which is the essential ingredient from an ominous trial vault that you will need to acquire the mace. So let's swap into our elytra and let's briefly fly over the mountain in this direction, because I want to show you something else that I figured out in the meantime whilst we were on stream. And that is that over here, you may remember this from previous episodes of the guide, there is actually a pillager outpost off in the distance. We've come across this one in the past, and I figured I would return to this to kill a few pillager captains, because the banner-wearing pillager captains will spawn around here every time you revisit the area, or if you want to just fly up into the air and come back down again. Once you go 128 blocks away, all of the pillagers on the ground will despawn, and they will spawn a few more pillager captains once you come back down. The pillager captains will drop an ominous bottle guaranteed whenever you kill one of them, and in fact, this one has dropped Bad Omen 3. I did a little bit more farming, and now have a shulker box which has a ton of ominous bottles in. Right here, we have 5 or 6 of most of them, and we've got one Bad Omen 5. All this changes in terms of the levels between these is the duration that you will have the Trial Omen effect. In a trial chamber, the only thing that having different levels of Bad Omen changes is the duration that that Trial Omen effect lasts, which, if you just want to do a single run through the dungeon, you can actually get through with just Bad Omen 1, depending on the size of it, of course. You might need to step up to Bad Omen 2, but it's 15 minutes per level. So this one's going to get you 15 minutes, that's going to get you half an hour, that one's 45. Bad Omen 4 is a full full hour, and bad omen 5 is an hour and 15. So what that means is you could potentially get 3 cycles of an ominous trial done, all with the same trial omen effect. The problem is the trial omen effect never wears off, so you never get to do the trial spawners the normal way to get hold of the regular trial keys. So we're going to come back to the pillager outpost in future and probably farm some more ominous bottles so that we can take on the trial chamber more effectively. But I think for now, I'm going to head on home. We're going to fly in the opposite direction to the way we came out here, trade with a cartographer out there, and hopefully find a map to a different trial chamber. While I'm briefly back at my base, I'm also going to unload some of these shulker boxes, especially the ones that have supplies that we don't need to take to the next trial chamber. I'm going to put the new armor trims in here, and we will come back, duplicate those, and add those to our row of armor displays, probably over here on the other side. But naturally, I also got a ton more slime and bones while we were grinding through the trial chambers, so I have almost 3 full stacks of slime blocks we can drop off here, along with a few stacks of bone blocks and a ton of arrows. We can add the Guster banner pattern in here with my collection of other banner patterns, and I'm fairly certain I have the music discs in a shulker box in my ender chest. There we go, adding those to the collection. I do still need the other 2 music discs from a child chamber as well, so we'll be looking for those when we loot this next one. But the thing to remember here is that we can't buy a different map from the same cartographer. If we go and find another cartographer, they might trade me a map to another trial chamber, but this cartographer will always sell me a map to the same place. So unfortunately, this trade is now going to be useless to us, unless I forget where that trial chamber is and need to buy another map so I can go back there. Alright, now my inventory's looking a little bit easier to manage. We've got a few emeralds and a compass so that we can go out and get another cartographer's trial map. I'm not going to bring the potions with me, but I am going to bring this box because, of course, it's got the trial keys. But I'm going to fly south across the ocean to the Acacia village that we started our first village project in, and hopefully a cartographer there will be able to sell me a map that leads out in this direction. And another cool thing is, having deleted these chunks when we purged them from our world, we actually get some fresh mob spawns here, which means we've got armadillos in this savannah, a lot closer to home. But here's our friendly village where, oh, here's a thought. I might have already traded with this cartographer, so they've hit their max profession, so we won't be able to get a trial map from this one after all. Maybe we can encourage these villagers to breed, though, and that way we can end up recruiting another cartographer. Well, our first new recruit over here at Cartography Corner did not trade me a trial map. They ended up giving me a Woodland Explorer map and the compass trade, but this new recruit here did give me the Trial Explorer map trade, so hopefully with an additional emerald and another map we can buy, we can pick up this map and see if that leads somewhere other than the trial chamber we've already found. In fact, it looks like it's just leading out to the savannah over here, and I presume I didn't spend 5 minutes out here on the plains biome in the past, so this chunk probably got reset, and it looks like we might have a trial chamber, once again, relatively close to our spawn point. I'm not seeing a whole lot of caves around here, so I'm thinking we just dig a 2-block wide hole and safety dig our way down to the level where the trial chamber should be generated. Probably should have traded the rest of the paper to the cartographer before I started digging down, but there you go. And there we go, we've dug down directly on top of it. This is actually at Y-12, so yeah, pretty low down. Now, if I hop on down here, I'm probably going to activate a trial spawner more or less straight away, but there is our first ominous vault. Now let's see if we can open up the shulker box that has the keys in it. We'll grab that, and we'll bridge out towards that, and do our best to avoid activating any trial spawners in the process. Alright, first ominous vault to open. Let's see what we get from this one, and that's the armor trim. Some diamonds. Oh, looks like the loot from this one is going to be pretty good. Still no heavy core, though. And now the box I was planning on putting all of the loot in is full of paper, but here we go. We've got some bad omen 4 in that bottle as well, and it looks like that spawner down there is going to spawn the bogged. You can tell because it's got bones, which means skeletons, but it's also got mushrooms, which means poison. Well, I'm going to leave a couple of torches here to indicate that that is my exit. We're going to water bucket down to the floor, where if there's not a staircase, there we go, and I'm going to do my best to sneak around this trial chamber without alerting any of the spawners. We'll take a look around the corner in third person if we need to, just in case there's going to be anything around here. This looks like the basement floor of that room with all of the zombie and breeze spawners, but it looks like this one is a little bit different. We've got a regular vault there, and I'm looking for a section there, the partition. This should have the ominous vault behind it. Yes, there we go. The stealth mission continues. Let's see what we get out of this one. Ominous bottle, emerald block, and really, was that it? Gosh, it doesn't like me doing the stealth mission, apparently. Luckily, there's a chest here that I can drop off some of these miscellaneous blocks in, though. I can use the stone to block off some of the trial spawners if we need to, but I'm fairly certain that was the only ominous vault in this room, so we can leave this one behind for now. But like I said, that's an emerald block and a bottle of Bad Omen 4. Still not great. Kind of makes up for the fact that the loot from the first one was okay. On the right here, we have a copper door. We'll break that one so we know we've been through this way, and let's head on down. Oh, this room looks like it's going to have some trouble. There's a breeze spawner on the opposite wall. Now, let's see if we can avoid line of sight by blocking ourselves in and getting behind this pillar over here. There's another one around here that looks like spiders. Once again, you can tell because there are cobwebs. So I'm going to block off a wall here. Now I should be able to stand here without activating the trial spawner, even though it's just on the other side of that wall. What's going on over here? Can I get over here? Looks like there's another spawner right there. I'm less familiar with the layout of this room, so I'm not sure where, if anywhere, the ominous vault is going to be. We've got a basement floor of this one as well, so it looks like it might be a similar setup to the room we were in just a minute ago. Wait a second, I think it's here. Yes, I think it's right here. Okay, we found it. An enchanted golden apple, some diamonds, some emeralds, some more diamonds. Ooh, those are going to stack together nicely. 5 diamonds from that one. And another enchanted apple. That's not bad. That's pretty good loot considering that you can't craft them. So now if I go back the way I came, we are currently 3 for 3 on ominous vaults without any spawner activations. And that one looks like it could get a little bit hairy if there are spiders in there. We'll block that off to make sure that we know we have come this way. We're also going to take a look at the pots around here, just in case any of them have the scrape potsherd, because those did not appear in the last trial chamber that we raided. We have the Guster and Flow pottery sherds, but we don't have the scrape one that should just be a design of an axe. Down the next spiral staircase, let's see where this leads us. Just a supply chest. Yeah, a couple of emeralds in there and a wind charge, which we might as well take. But once we're out in the corridor, we'll block off this door as well, and that's where our next spawner is. So I'm actually going to hide around the corner here, wall this off as best I can. We'll try and do the same thing from all angles, and then this spawner shouldn't be able to activate at all, even if we're nearby. Obviously, that includes putting a lid on it if we want to as well. There we go, that spawner is now completely blocked off, and if we want to, we can break a few of the pots around here to see if they contain the music disc we're looking for. There's the scrape pottery sherd. That's the one I wanted, and I've got a silk touch pick, so of course I'm picking up the pot instead of claiming the pottery sherd. There we go. That's the last one we needed, and there's an ender pearl in here. Nice. I'll add that to my loot box here along with the emeralds, and we can put this other decorated pot back. Now let's break a few of these pots to see. Oh, that one contains a trial key. Very nice. Up onto the next floor. Obviously, we have to be slightly wary of more trial spawners, but it didn't look like there were too many of those out here, so as long as that one's blocked off, we're not going to get any spawns. Let's break through this door and see what's in here. Just another supply chest, couple of iron ingots. We'll leave those here. I don't really need the iron. I'm mostly doing this to see if we get any trial keys, but there is also a music disc that's unique to these decorated pot drops. Since we've got a couple of keys, we will open up this one vault just to see if we get anything interesting from it, because there is a small chance of getting some loot out of them. Looks like we got a crossbow with piercing 2, quick charge 1. Honestly, I'm more interested in topping up my saturation with the honey bottles. There we go. The last level of this corridor does have another door right where we came in. The spiral staircase here could lead up to another spawner, or it could just be a supply chest. It's neither of those. It's actually a dead end. So I'm going to switch to my netherite chest plate and move on into the next area. This should be the intersection where we find the staircase up. And I can also talk about the secret room that's in here that I didn't notice in the previous one. Thanks once again to the comments for letting me know that this was here. This one's got a crafting table in it, a decorated pot, and another bed, along with a little seating area, which is kind of cute. And let's see what happens when we break the pot. Just a bit of string. So no guaranteed special loot in this one. There are occasionally hidden rooms behind those copper grates though, so it's worth investigating in case you spot one of those that seems out of place for the environment. For now though, we have another ominous vault to open up over here. Let's see what we get from this one. Yes! Incredible! We got ourselves the heavy core. That's what I was hoping for. And how many ominous keys was that? Because this is really the benchmark of how difficult these things are to find. If I go into my stats, go to items, times used, and scroll down to find the ominous keys, which is all the way down here, we've used 19 trial keys, and just below that we should find ominous keys sitting at 11. Well, that is monumental luck, because the chance of finding the heavy core from an ominous vault is actually much lower than 1 in 11. But friends, I could not be happier that we have finally acquired one of these. On the surface, they look kind of unassuming. They are a pretty straightforward, like, player head sized block. You can place them like so. They have a metallic noise when you pick them up. But now, if we apply that to a breeze rod, which I don't think I even brought with me because I was not expecting this to happen. Nope, I didn't. Okay, we're going to have to leave. Oh, there's a diamond axe in this barrel as well. I can't resist diamond tools. We're going to have to take that. But we're going to head back to my base because we can now craft one of the most sought-after items in the game as of Minecraft 1.21. The heavy core is the other ingredient to craft the mace weapon, and we are finally able to do it. I say finally, that took way less time than I was expecting. Honestly, I was expecting us to have to go through several other trial chambers before we encountered one, so... oh, the luck is with me today. I'm happy about that. Of course, now's the moment where I have to double check I've got my elytra. Otherwise, with just the netherite chestplate on, I could be leaping directly into lava. But nope, I've got the elytra equipped. Let's rocket our way back to base and let's find whatever shulker box I stashed the breeze rods in. So with just one breeze rod and the heavy core, we can get the mace. The mace is a brand new weapon for Minecraft 1.21 that works a little differently to some of the other weapons in the game. It's got 6 attack damage natively, a very, very slow attack speed, especially when you compare it to a netherite sword or even a netherite axe. The netherite axe has an attack speed of 1. This is 0.6, so it's really slow. In fact, if I pick it up and hold it in my hand right here, oh, there we go. Yeah, it takes a little while to heft, but the results of using this thing are going to be pretty spectacular. I will leave you on that particular cliffhanger, though, because I'm so excited to have acquired the mace, but that is where we're going to wrap up this episode looking at ominous trials and how we can farm them for future trial chambers and ominous rewards. I cannot believe that we got hold of the mace this quickly. Trust me, when you see the odds, you'll be very surprised, and I don't think we're going to get another heavy core for a while, so we're going to have to protect this thing with our lives. But folks, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Minecraft Survival Guide. My name has been Pixlriffs. Don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you folks soon. Take care, bye for now.